The next MOC in my Rogue One series takes place on the planet Wobani. And you might be wondering, Abe, that planet and scene only appeared in the movie for like 45 seconds. Why would you build that? And I would say, because I can? Also, the scene was more like 47 seconds, so jokes aside, I haven't seen many MOCs of Wobani. I thought it would be cool to build like a huge turbo tank facade to recreate this scene. Something about just taking this tiny moment from the film and blowing it up into a big LEGO MOC just felt really fun. And honestly a little ridiculous, which is my favorite kind of LEGO challenge. That leads me to my goals. Well, actually, I only have one goal for this MOC, and that is to build a large clone turbo tank. What is this thing actually even called? It is not called a clone turbo tank, it is called a HAVW A6 Juggernaut. Okay, they're called Juggernauts. I'm gonna call it a clone turbo tank. But more importantly, the goal is about how am I going to do this and how am I going to incorporate this into the MOC without it feeling disconnected from the rest of the series. If I'm being honest, this is probably the MOC I've dreaded most to build, which is exactly why I need to do it. I was definitely a bit nervous because I really had no idea how to build a tank at this scale, but I'll give it my best shot and let's see how it turns out. Here is a rough sketch of the MOC. The color palette will be light bluish gray, dark bluish gray, black, dark brown, and white. Alright, enough talking, let's get to building. I knew I needed to start with the turbo tank first, and once I got that built I could tackle the base and terrain. Before building the body, I needed to build the wheels, so I got out every large wheel piece and dish I owned to figure out the size. I also got out all of my different tread pieces because I had the idea of using those around the wheels. Not just to give them texture, but to make the wheels bigger. These larger treads fit around this white wheel piece really well, and the size was perfect. I also added rounded plates, tiles, and a large dish piece to build out the wheel more. I'm liking it so far, and it's matching the inspiration I'm using. I'm no turbo tank expert. Again, I didn't even know what they were actually called. But I'm basing my design on what we see in the movie and also in the Bad Batch TV show, where there's a door on the bottom of the rear. I plan to build that last section of the tank. Now that the wheels were finalized, it was time to start working on the body. I started with some Technic bricks to give it some stability, then I added plates to the bottom and inverted slopes. Then I added a large plate with some grills for the flooring and some dark green chairs, the ones Jyn and the other prisoners are sitting in. For the entrance, I used snot bricks with some slopes and tiles to create the rounded door. I also added some stickers to the tiles on the inside for more detail. In reality, these probably won't even be seen in the final pictures, but it's fun for me. Above the door, I wanted to add more texture and complexity, so I used grills, brackets, and tiles stacked sideways. Next, I needed to work on the shocks. Here's the piece that's featured in a lot of the LEGO sets. This is the one I made for the scale I'm building at. Obviously there's no spring, but it looks cool. I attached those to the body with a Technic pin. Then I added rounded bricks in the walls of the body. I made sure to add some greebles to the walls as well. I also added a small stepladder for minifigures to get in and out of the tank. Then I attached the wheels using a Technic pin, and to my surprise, this thing actually rolls. Okay, now that I know how big the tank is, I want to move on to the base of the MOC. I need a break from the tank. That thing took me forever to build. It required so much tinkering. Now that the filler brick is laid, it was time to add more filler brick, which will just get covered up by plates. Some really exciting stuff here. Once the base was built up and the black border was made, I gathered every dark brown piece I own. There isn't a ton of imagery of Wobani besides what we see in the movie, and it's not a ton. The terrain looks pretty gray in the movie, but I don't really want the terrain to be gray because the tank is gray. I'm thinking the dark brown will work better with maybe some light bluish gray rocks and white snow. It adds contrast and feels more visually exciting, plus I rarely get to use dark brown at this scale. I planned on using the same technique for the sides of the terrain that I used in my first two MOCs. Again, lots of angled slopes. I don't have a lot of dark brown, so I really needed to be very precise with where each piece went. Here's how the terrain is looking. I'm leaving tire mark spots in the landscaping to simulate where the tank has driven through. For some reason, this landscape was such a grind to get through. I had to keep it relatively flat, and that really limited what I could build. The pockets of light bluish gray look good though. I'm happy with those parts. Let's jump into another time lapse and add all the snow. I think this MOC was so tedious to build because I truly was just putting plates and tiles onto more plates and tiles. This is going to be such a pain to disassemble. Whoa, Abe. You can't think that far ahead. You gotta keep building. Stay positive.
Stay on target. We're too close. Stay on target.
Okay, I did it. The terrain is done. Do I love it? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'm hoping it grows on me because I am not changing anything. Off screen, I built the top of the turbo tank. I think it's a good start, but something is a little off about it. I think it's too tall. The dimensions just don't quite look right. Let's try shortening it up. Wow, okay, this is a lot better and actually fits the body. I love the huge oversized cannon on top. I love all the different lights I added. I also added these Exoforce stickers for some extra blaster damage effects. Overall, I'm very happy with this design. It's time to get it connected to the base, which I'm a little bit worried about. Okay, it actually wasn't too hard to get it connected, so here we go. Before the big reveal, a quick spotlight on the minifigures. This Melshi minifigure is another custom made by Orbital Minifigures. Such an awesome figure. I love seeing this character in minifig form. The printing and detail is amazing, and I love how their figures don't stand out next to actual LEGO printed figures. The other figures in this MOC were made using just actual LEGO printed parts. I gave Jyn a different face and some updated legs. The other rebels are a nice inclusion to build out the story, and K2 is an obvious must for this scene. Now that the minifigures are placed, here it is, the finished Wobani MOC. I love how menacing the Imperial turbo tank looks. It really gives this scene weight, almost crushing, almost a little too much weight. Maybe it represents how destructive the Empire is on these planets. I feel a lot better about the MOC now that it's done. There's something very satisfying about seeing a massive, intimidating vehicle perched up on a simple landscape. The contrast works more than I expected. My biggest critique is that the terrain could be a little higher. I don't have enough dark brown, but now I wish I would have maybe added a layer of dark bluish gray brick under the dark brown so that I could have built up the terrain more. Because again, the turbo tank is really heavy on the MOC and it feels a little unbalanced. Or maybe I should have just bought a few more dark brown bricks, but I really didn't want to spend too much money on these MOCs. I do think building up the landscaping more though would have balanced the MOC more since the tank is so tall. The terrain should be taller too. But overall, I'm really happy with this MOC. It isn't a huge deal. This was definitely one of the more challenging MOCs in the series for me, so I'm happy with what I came up with. Next video, we're traveling to the secret rebel base on Yavin. Stay creative everybody, and I'll see you soon.